Hi all, I want to look at a classic game today between Nimzowitsch playing white and Capablanca playing black. Nimzowitsch was the author of my system, a very powerful, influential book which many grandmasters have sworn by because it taught about a lot of positional principles. Capablanca around this time in 1927 was thought invincible, but he later lost to Caro-Kann in a World Championship match. Here playing black, he played the Caro-Kann defence, and white now played the advanced variation, which can be dangerous if you follow it up correctly. But white's now just played bishop d3, and this, in my view, allows Capablanca to get a French defence without the bad bishop, because the bad bishop is bad because it's usually like trapped there, and black then tries to undermine the white centre. Capablanca has already exchanged off the light squared bishops here, and you see now a French defence type strategy of undermining the d4 square. So it's very easy and natural to play, and I think instructive positionally, because with that light squared bishop exchange there's two very nice outposts for black, as you will see later. First there's f5 and second there's c4, and these are often important outposts in the French defence. After f4, Capablanca used one of them with knight f5, a lovely place for the knight, exerting pressure on d4. White now played c3, and black now, he moved the other knight to c6. So black doesn't mind tempting white with g4, otherwise he would have played, say, h5. And we're going to see this occurs later. He even plays g6 now, still tempting white to throw the pawn forward. Note though that Capablanca is quite wily here, he hasn't castled yet. So after g4, instead of retreating his knight, actually he takes on e3, and now plays a very interesting move. He plays h5, so still not castling. He wants white to fix his own pawns, and that f5 square can be used with this remaining knight. White now plays into this because he didn't want that h file opened up, maybe with black castling queenside. So Capablanca actually just castled kingside now, and we see now a great positional demonstration. Queen b6 was played, and here's some shuffling rook moves, but first the knight is now threatening to come to that lovely light squared outpost, but there's some odd moves in between which may be explained by time control or time pressure. So knight e7, the knight finally goes to this f5 square, not minding white's able to take it actually. As we'll see, this h pawn is immune because of rook h8 and rook h4 if it was taken, and this f4 pawn would be weak. But I just want to focus on the positional theme here. So black protects that h pawn now, and what is instructive is how these rooks have used this outpost square to infiltrate into the white position. And Nimzowitsch, who is a master often of putting people in Zugzwang, is slowly becoming Zugzwanged here himself. Black's at leisure increasing space on the queen side, and now comes in with his queen and rook into the white position. Nimzowitsch is just tied down to these black pawns, it seems. A very passive position, and he can't do anything really about this infiltration. So black's much better now, and after this it's a crushing advantage. He played rook f1, and after rook d1 you see how white's just tied to passivity and almost in a virtual Zugzwang. He plays now b3, and after rook c1 plays rook e3, which hastens his demise, because after rook f1 it's all over. For example, if queen e2, then there'll be a mate in 5 with queen g1 check, king h4, rook f3 now. A very clever move to block the f3 square, and after these moves, check, queen h3, queen f4, white is getting mated. So let's have a quick look at how that infiltration worked in conclusion and summary. It was a Caro-Kann defence, very comfortable to play for black without that traditionally bad dark square bishop, as though it's a French defence but a very pleasant French defence. Now watch the c4 and f5 outpost squares, and in particular how they're utilised. The f5 square is utilised to encourage white to fix his pawns on the king's side, because h5, white really didn't want to play h3. And now we see how the f5 square is used to exchange off the knight on d4. Let's have a quick look at this queen takes h5. There would have been rook h8, queen f3, rook h4, and that would be very difficult for white. E.g. h3, rook takes there, and it's unpleasant. So this pawn, that's a one tactical moment which needs some explanation, I think. But this infiltration is just very instructive. So the semi-open c-file being used to come into the white position and fix white to these dark squared pawns. And in this final phase, we see this infiltration across the 8th rank. And Nimzowitsch described this game as though Capablanca had read my system before he'd even published it. So he was in great praise of the positional achievement of this game. And I think it's an instructive classic game which I hope you can use in your own games to be more aware of the weaknesses of light squares and how they can be used to infiltrate into the opponent's position and cause even a virtual Zugzwang. So I hope you enjoyed that, and see you on YouTube. Thanks very much.